Hello children, welcome back to the class. In today's class, we are going to discuss the other important life processes, circulation. What do you mean by circulation? Just imagine I've stored enough energy. Will I be active for the whole day if I sit in one place? No. So what I need to do? The energy has to be transported or circulated throughout my body, only then I will remain active. So, what do we require for this transportation or circulation of energy? We require a system. So, that system we call it as the circulatory system, and the process we call it as circulation or transportation. Our circulatory system includes blood vessels, and the heart. So now let us start with the first component, blood. So what do you know about blood? Our blood is a fluid connective tissue that flows throughout the body. So a normal adult can have about 5 to 5.5 liters of blood. And when you go with the functions of blood, so normally the blood involves in three important functions. The first is transport, then is the defense mechanism, and the third is the regulatory mechanism. So, what do you mean by transport? What do they transport? They transport nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide, waste. So, they transport all the materials to the body, to and out. Then comes the defense. What do you mean by defense? We have certain cellular components that helps in fight against germs or any infections. So our blood can also act as a defense mechanism. And the third one is regulatory mechanism. So we call this as homeostasis. Homeostasis meaning our blood plays a vital role in maintaining our body temperature. So these are the three major functions of our blood. So when you take blood, it carries two different components. One is plasma, the other is formed elements. So plasma constitutes around 55% in our blood and formed elements will be 45%. Then you need to know what is this 55% made up of. So this is made up of protein. So plasma is especially made up of protein, hormones, and all nitrogenous, and it contains a majority portion of water. So the maximum portion of plasma will be water. Then comes the formed elements. So the remaining 45 percentage will be our blood cells. So the remaining 45 percentage will be our blood cells. So these blood cells plays a vital role in the defense mechanism. Let us know now. Coming to the blood cells. So blood cells a question was asked, where are blood cells born? So what was the answer? Bone marrow. So bone marrow is a place where all the blood cells are born. Okay. So we have different types of cells in our blood, but three different cells plays an important role here in circulation. The first one will be RBC, red blood cells, which are also called as erythrocytes. They are also called as erythrocytes. Then comes WBC, which are also called as leukocytes. And third will be platelets. They are also called as thrombocytes. So when you take RBC, this is also called as red blood cells. So you need to think why these cells are red in color, because it carries a red pigment called hemoglobin, which we already come across this in respiration, which acts as a respiratory pigment. So erythro meaning, the meaning of erythro is red. So it has a pigment called, an iron pigment called hemoglobin, which is responsible for the red color. Heme meaning iron and globin meaning protein. So it is a iron protein that is responsible for the red color as well as it carries oxygen. So the main function of erythrocytes is to provide red color as well as carry oxygen. And the life cycle of RBC will be 120 days. So RBC can remain in blood only for 120 days. Coming to WBC, leuco. The meaning of leuco is colorless. So which means these are not colored cells. They are colorless, which doesn't have any colored pigment. And the important function of WBC is to fight against germs. So these are the first cells, immune cells that comes and encounters the antigen. So it helps in fighting against germs. So coming to the life cycle of lifespan of WBC, it will be around 8 to 10 days. And the third one is platelets or thrombocytes. The meaning of thromb is clot or mesh. Clot or mesh. Suppose if you have any cut or wound, what will happen after a day or after a minute? You can find the blood clotting. So that blood clotting is done by the platelets. So these cells plays a vital role, because if the blood doesn't clot more than 5 minutes, what will happen? That can cause severe illness. So it is very important, that plays a very important role in the fighting against as well as the defense mechanism. Okay, so this helps in forming clot or mesh, which helps in the loss of blood, prevents blood loss. So these are the three important cells that plays a very major role in circulation. So where are our blood cells born? Bone marrow. Now we'll get into the next component, blood vessels. So you need to know how these blood flow. So how do they flow? It uses a transport called the blood vessel. So we have different types of vessels playing different roles. So let us see one by one. Vessels, we have three major types of blood vessels. One is the arteries. The second one, veins. And the third one, capillaries. Arteries are highly thick blood vessels which always carry the oxygenated blood. So what do you mean by oxygenated? Oxygenated blood. Oxygenated means blood with oxygen. Okay, so arteries will carry oxygenated blood. Since the flow of blood will be fast, the vessel has to withstand the pressure. Well, because when the blood flows so fast, it exerts high pressure. So the vessel should be highly thick and elastic in order to withstand oxygenated blood. So most arteries are highly thick wall and elastic in order to withstand the pressure of oxygenated blood. But there are certain exceptional arteries like pulmonary artery which carries deoxygenated blood. Though they carry deoxygenated blood, it is basically thick but less comparatively to the normal arteries. Then comes the veins. Veins carry deoxygenated blood. Veins carry deoxygenated blood. So they are not that thick, but instead it carries different kind of valves. Why? Because since they carry deoxygenated blood, it is very important that the blood should not flow reverse back. So it has many valves in order to protect from reverse backing. Okay. And the next one will be, and here the deoxygenated blood, the flow is slow and the pressure is also slow, so the veins are very thin comparatively to the arteries. And the third are the blood vessels are capillaries. Capillaries are small vessels that connects arteries and veins. So these are small vessels that connects arteries and veins, which connects the deeper part of muscles. So when the blood flows in artery as well as in the vein, this acts as a network which will act in between the arteries and veins. So what will happen? Just imagine these are capillaries and it has tiny pores here. So when there is a flow of blood in the capillaries with a high pressure, some of the blood component can come down. It can leak from through the small holes present in the capillaries. So these fluid that moves out of the capillaries are called lymph. So lymph is also another fluid that is filtered when the blood flows fast in the capillaries. But these lymph fluid doesn't flow in blood vessel. Instead, they flow in a vessel called lymphatic vessels. They flow in a vessel called lymphatic vessel. And this lymphatic vessel, it plays a major role in different functions. And the main function is the defense mechanism. So it includes, we have the lymphatic vessel together forms a lymphatic system. So this lymphatic system plays an important role in the defense mechanism. Say for example, adenoids, bone marrow, spleen, thymus, all these comes under lymphatics, which plays a vital role in the defense mechanism. Okay, say for example, thymus gland, we have it here that provokes the production of T cells. So that will be the first cell to encounter any antigen. So it acts as a defense mechanism. And bone marrow is a place where all cells are born. And coming to spleen, spleen is an organ which acts as a graveyard. I told you RBCs will remain for only 120 days. After that, what will happen? From in the blood, all these dead cells and damaged tissues will be washed out and they move to the spleen. They move to the lymphatic organs, which will clear and help removing all the waste. Okay, so this lymphatic system plays a major role against immunity and all the other function. So the three vessels are the arteries, capillary veins, and the capillaries. So again, vein, we have an exceptional vein called the pulmonary vein, which is the only vein to carry oxygenated blood. So let us see how this works. So we already discussed blood cells and the blood vessel, and the important component now will be our heart. So let us know how our heart works.